Sword Art Online is a series that ever since it finished airing in December of 2012 has gotten a great deal of discourse, even till this very day. And with the series soon to be approaching its final arcs in the upcoming third season, I figured what better time to review and share my thoughts on the first two. The whole reason that isekai fantasies are popular is because everyone at some point in their lives wishes that they could escape from reality. Whether it be due to drama going on around them or some other circumstance, we all wish that we could escape from it and go someplace better. And isekai fantasies allow us, if not just for a little while, to experience what it would be like to do so. However, Sword Art Online does the exact opposite. It's the story that turns the fantasy world of gaming into an even crueler reality. We're taken to the year 2022 in the future, and Japanese citizens are celebrating as the gaming industry takes off to new heights with the official release and public launch of the new virtual MMO, Sword Art Online, the first MMO to use the virtual reality system, Nerve Gear. Our protagonist, Kirigaya Kazuto, has been anxiously awaiting this moment for an extremely long time. He's read up on the game and he gets ready to make his dive into the virtual world that he loves. And at first, everything is fine. He logs in, sets his plan of action, and even helps a newcomer adjust to the basics of the game. However, when discovering that there's no way to log out, panic starts to ensue as he and millions of other players now find themselves virtually trapped within the world of SAO, with a very chilling and cruel message from its creator. Either conquer all 100 floors of the Aincrad dungeon and reclaim your freedom, or die trying. Because in the world of Sword Art Online, there are no restarts. Dying means certain death. The whole concept behind the story of Sword Art Online is what if the fantasy worlds that we all love to escape to suddenly became an even crueler reality than the one we're currently living in? It's something that no one wants to consider or even think about because our world already sucks. I know this. So to suddenly have our fantasy escape routes turned into an even crueler reality would be disastrous. However, even with this very cruel yet unique approach behind it, the series is not terrible. Yes, it does have its flaws, as does any other show out there, and I'll break into these flaws later on, but to be honest, some of these arguments that are put against the series don't make any sense to me. For example, the main argument that I hear about Kirito is that he's an overpowered protagonist that is invincible and good at anything he does for no reason, and that he has no personality. Okay, first off, no. Kirito is not an overpowered protagonist. He did not start off as some badass MC that could defeat anything. He started off in the exact same situation as all the other players that were trapped in the game. Did he already have stats? No. Did he already have skills? No. The only reason that he got as strong as he was is because he worked to get that far in his level. And last time I checked, leveling wasn't only optional to Kirito. He's not invincible either. He nearly dies in Season 1 if you recall. Twice, I might add. Now if you would like to see a premium example of what an overpowered protagonist is, you need to watch Overlord and Another World with My Smartphone, and even this season's new release, Death March to the Parallel World Rhapsody. There's your overpowered protagonist. And besides, if anyone in the SAO series is to be considered overpowered, it's the creator of the game himself. But Kirito is as fair as they get. Now when it comes to his personality, Kirito is first introduced to us as a standalone aloof character who is only concerned for his own survival. However, his personality takes a drastic change after the events that take place in episode 2 and 3. He becomes less concerned for himself and more protective of those around him. He doesn't want to risk losing anyone else, so to avoid dragging others into danger, he tries to avoid partying and he solos a lot. And if he does party, he makes the members promise to teleport if it gets too risky. It has absolutely nothing to do with being against cooperation, it's that he doesn't want to risk losing anyone else, and I think that is really understandable. Kirito's personality might not be the best, but he's not perfect. He struggles and he has faults just like everyone else, which he comes to terms with and learns from later in the series to use to better himself. And if that doesn't make him a great character, what does? Now Asuna, on the other hand, is a slightly different case. When we're first introduced to her character in the series, she's still trying to come to terms with the horrible situation that she's been placed in, and she's not even sure if she's going to be able to make it through, so she's trying hard not to lose hope. However, when she joins the front lines later on, her personality goes from being uncertain and insecure to headstrong and focused, and as the series continues, we get to see a loving and motherly side to her as well. Now, I am perfectly aware that there are several people that have a problem with the fact that she was held captive in the second arc of the first season with arguments like, "Why did they have to make Asuna look like she has to be saved? She was such a strong character in the beginning of the series, yada yada yada." Well, let me point something out here for you. It's perfectly fine for a character to have strong traits and still have times of need, because that's what makes them relatable to begin with. Let's be honest here. Even though we as people are strong-willed and independent, there are going to be times in our lives where we are going to need help or desire it, and that's perfectly fine because that's what makes us human. It's only bad if the character is displaying too much of one side of the coin. However, the fact that Asuna has times of need in the series is not a bad thing. It only makes her character more human. The third argument against the series that makes absolutely no sense at all, and is rather laughable, is that it makes Asuna a housewife, and that the romance is entirely misogynistic. Okay, first off, you can't have romance in a story if there's going to be misogyny. For those of you who don't know, misogyny is the act of female prejudice, and as far as I could tell, there is nothing in the story of SAO that even remotely hints toward a misogynistic tone. There's no belittling or discrimination against the female characters, nothing. And as far as the relationship between Kirito and Asuna, Kirito loves and respects Asuna. This much was made apparent throughout Season 1, and as for Asuna herself, there's nothing wrong with the fact that she loves to cook for Kirito. They're a couple after all, and besides, she even praised herself on her cooking skills in episode 8, which means that she really enjoys it. None of this makes the romance between them the least bit misogynistic, it only means they have a great relationship. Now, as far as the second arc, I can totally understand why people despise it so much. After all, the main villain is nothing more than a jealous apprentice of the first, and he's more comical than intimidating. Plus, his personality and attitude is disgusting at best. But I gotta admit, there were some entertaining moments in the arc. I really loved the scene in episode 19 where Kirito turned into the Baphomet, and the battle inside the World Tree at the end of the arc. No, not that one. Yes, that one. Now let's talk about Season 2, and I'm going to be honest with you here, I loved it. There is a lot of character growth that takes place, especially in Shinon's case. In Season 2, though it may not seem like it and be rather hard to believe, the main focus is on Shinon and how she struggles to overcome her childhood trauma, which is something that I really enjoyed. Kirito is there, but it's more or less for support purposes. He only starts taking a more active role once the tournament actually starts, which is understandable, because after all, he is on a mission. But even then, the focus isn't entirely given to him, which brings me to my next point, that Kirito does not always have the spotlight. In episode 6, we see Kirito struggling with a panic attack after he runs into Death Gun for the first time. Soon after Shinon comes in to check on him, and after seeing what state he's in, she's reminded with a flashback of how she panics when trying to overcome her childhood trauma. To me, that scene, followed by her and Kirito's first standoff scene, does an excellent job of displaying the relativity between them and sharing the spotlight. Because while it may look like Kirito is the main focus, the scene is used to emphasize on Shinon's struggle to become stronger.
That's impossible! If you're so strong you can do that, why'd you look so afraid before?
You're wrong. It's not strength. All it is a skill.
No, it's not. Technique isn't enough to cut a bullet from my Hecate in half. You and I both know that. It takes strength, and all I want to know is how to get it. It's what I'm here to figure out.
That's not all though. Asuna also gets a fair share of screen time in the second season when she goes on her adventure with Yuki, and the spotlight is more than equally shared between them, allowing us time to get emotionally involved with Yuki's character, while at the same time allowing Asuna to learn and develop from their shared encounter together and helping her with her issues. Most of the flaws in the series take place in the first arc of the first season. The pacing is rushed and there's some needless time skips that make it hard to follow the story in some parts. However, Season 2 is way better in terms of writing in my opinion, and I've already elaborated on how it does an excellent job sharing the spotlight. The music in the series is wonderful. I still love the first OP of the first season, Crossing Fields, done by Lisa, and the animation, which was done by A1 Pictures, is a solid 10 in my book. All around, even given its flaws, I have to say that Sword Art Online is still enjoyable to watch. The action is great and it has a nice slice of life aspect to it as well that helps ease down from the drama before diving back into it, which I personally believe helps us connect with the characters on a more personal level. But what are your thoughts on the series? Let me know in the comments. I hope you guys have enjoyed today's review, and until next time, I'm Kei of Otaku Deity. Catch you later.